At 28, Angela Clark finally understood the difference between people who give you life and people who give you love. But the truth of how she lost one family and found another began long before her graduation day. Started when she was just 13. She remembered the cold smell of St. Andrew's Hospital, room 214, antiseptic mixed with fading flowers. She sat on the exam table in a thin paper gown, legs dangling. Across from her, Dr. Miller cleared his throat and said softly, "Angela, you have acute leukemia. But listen, your chances of survival are very good." Her mother, Karen, stared blankly at the wall. Her father, Thomas, stood with folded arms and a hard expression. Her older brother, Evan, 16 and glued to his phone, didn't look up once. Dr. Miller continued, "Treatment will take 2 to 3 years. The first month requires hospitalization. After that, consistent outpatient chemotherapy." Thomas didn't ask if Angela would survive. Instead he said, "How much is this going to cost?" Karen whispered, "We can't take charity. People will talk." Angela's voice trembled. "Mom, I'm scared." Thomas didn't offer comfort. He stared at Angela like she was an unwanted expense. "We need to think about Evan's future," he said. "College. Scholarships. He's going places." Angela felt something inside her collapse. "I'm your daughter too." Thomas shook his head. "Evan is gifted. You're average." The words crushed her. Dr. Miller finally snapped his tablet shut. "That's enough. I need to speak with Angela alone. Please step out." When they hesitated, he hardened his tone. "Leave now or I call security." They left without looking back. The moment the door closed, Angela burst into tears. Her whole body shook. Dr. Miller moved his chair beside her, waiting until her sobs eased. "Angela," he said gently, "your parents' suggestion is not okay. They want to sign you over to the state so treatment won't cost them anything. But I will not let that happen without ensuring you're protected." She sniffed, wiping her eyes. "They don't want me anymore?" "They're wrong," he said firmly. "I'm calling social services. You deserve care. You deserve safety. And someone will give you that." Within hours, a social worker named Laura Bennett arrived. She explained the process step by step, her voice calm and steady. That evening, Angela's parents returned only long enough to sign emergency custody papers. No hug. No goodbye. Alone in her new hospital room that night, surrounded by beeping monitors, Angela whispered, "Does anyone care if I live?" The door opened quietly. A nurse with warm brown eyes stepped inside. "Hi, sweetheart," she said. "I'm Nora Adams, your night nurse. Long day." Angela nodded. Nora pulled up a chair. "Well, let's start with this. You're not alone anymore." Nora stayed longer than required, checking Angela's foreline and smoothing her blanket. "You've had the kind of day no kid should ever face," she said softly. Angela whispered, "They really left me?" Nora sighed. "Some people walk away when things get hard. But others walk in. I'm one of the walk-ins." Angela managed a tiny smile. For the first time that day she felt a small spark of safety. "Try to rest," Nora said, turning off the bright overhead light. "I'll be right outside if you need me." Angela closed her eyes, feeling less abandoned than before. The next morning, Angela woke to the sound of soft humming. Nora was changing the four-bag, still smiling. "Morning, sunshine. How's the brave girl feeling?" Angela shrugged. "Scared." Nora nodded sympathetically. "It's okay to be scared. Courage isn't about not being afraid. It's about moving forward anyway." Before Angela could reply, Laura the social worker entered. "Angela, sweetie," she said gently, "we're arranging longer-term care. You won't return to your parents." Angela's breath caught. "Ever?" Laura hesitated. "Not unless a court decides otherwise. But right now we're focusing on keeping you safe." Later that afternoon, Laura sat beside Angela's bed with a clipboard. "You'll stay here during your first month of treatment," she explained. "After that you'll move to a foster home experienced in medical care." Angela's voice cracked. "Will they want me?" Laura squeezed her hand. "Yes. There are good families out there." But when she left, Angela stared at the ceiling with tears streaming down her face. Nora walked in moments later and paused. "Oh honey, come here." She sat beside Angela, letting the girl cry into her scrubs. "You matter," Nora murmured. You matter a lot. Days passed, filled with tests, medicines, and exhaustion. Angela lost her appetite and spent long hours staring out the window. But Nora was always there, checking vitals, telling jokes, sneaking in little cartons of ice cream on the good days. One night, while adjusting Angela's pillow, Nora said gently, "I heard you like purple." Angela blinked. "It's my favorite." Nora smiled. "Good to know. Just keep that in mind." Angela didn't understand what she meant, but she felt warmth in her chest whenever Nora spoke. It was the first warmth she'd felt since her diagnosis. On day 28, Dr. Miller entered with a smile. "Angela, you're responding very well. You're officially in remission. We can move you to outpatient treatment soon." Angela felt hope bloom, but worry followed. "Where will I go?" she asked. Laura stepped in. "We've arranged a foster placement. They're familiar with medical needs." Before Angela could reply, Nora spoke up suddenly. "No. I want to take her." The room fell silent. Dr. Miller raised an eyebrow. "Nora, that's a big commitment." Nora nodded. "I know. And I'm ready if Angela wants it too." Angela stared at Nora, shocked. "You want me to live with you?" she whispered. Nora stepped closer. "Only if you want to, sweetheart. I'm already certified as a foster parent. I trained for it 2 years ago." Angela's voice trembled. "But why me?" Nora knelt beside the bed. "Because you deserve someone who shows up. And I want to be that person for you." Laura looked between them. "The decision is Angela's." Angela didn't hesitate. "Yes. Please. I want to go with Nora." For the first time in weeks she felt chosen. The paperwork took several days. During that time Nora visited Angela constantly. Sometimes on duty, sometimes off duty, always with that warm smile. She brought pictures of her small house, photos of her cat, and ideas for what Angela's room could look like. "What color would you like the walls to be?" Nora asked. Angela whispered, "Purple," shyly. Nora grinned. "Perfect. I already bought the paint." Angela blinked. "Why?" Nora shrugged. "Hope." Angela felt something new inside her, like her heart was slowly stitching back together. On November 10th, Laura entered the room holding a thick folder. "Angela, your placement is approved. You'll be discharged to Nora's home next week." Angela felt joy and fear collide. "Are you sure?" Laura smiled. "Very sure." Nora clasped Angela's hand. "We're going to make this work. Together." Angela whispered, "I've never had someone fight for me." Nora squeezed her fingers gently. "Well, get used to it. I'm not going anywhere." Angela believed her, not because of the words but because of the way Nora kept showing up. On November 15th, Nora drove Angela to her house. Angela held one small bag, everything she owned. Nora opened the front door and said, "Welcome home." Angela stepped inside hesitantly. The house smelled like cinnamon and clean laundry. Nora led her upstairs and opened a door. "This is your room." Angela froze. The walls were painted soft purple. A new bed sat by the window with a matching blanket. A bookshelf held several young adult novels. On the desk sat a framed photo of Angela and Nora from the hospital. Angela burst into tears. Nora pulled her into a hug. "Hey, it's okay," she whispered. "You're safe now." Angela cried harder, clinging to Nora like a lifeline. "No one has ever done anything like this for me." Nora stroked her hair gently. "Get used to it, sweetheart. You deserve a home." That night, Angela slept more peacefully than she had since her diagnosis. For the first time, she wasn't lying in a hospital bed waiting for someone to care. She was in a real room with real warmth, in a home where she finally felt wanted. The next weeks were hard. Chemotherapy drained Angela's energy, made her nauseous, and left her weak. But every morning, Nora knocked softly and said, "Good morning, beautiful girl. Ready to fight cancer today?" When Angela felt too sick to eat, Nora sat with her, whispering, "One bite at a time." When her hair began to fall out, Angela sobbed in the bathroom. Nora sat with her on the floor. "Hair doesn't make you brave," she said. "Your heart does." Angela whispered, "I look ugly." Nora shook her head. "No. You look strong." When Angela lost all her hair, Nora surprised her with soft hats and scarves in purple and blue. "Try them on," she said cheerfully. Angela laughed for the first time in days. "These are actually cute." Nora winked. "Told you." When nightmares came, Angela would wake up trembling. Every time, Nora rushed into her room, sat beside her, and held her hand until she slept again. "I'm here," Nora whispered again and again. "I'm always here." And Angela slowly began to believe it. Angela's parents never visited. Not once. When Laura brought the final papers confirming they had surrendered their rights permanently, Angela stared at the signature lines. "They really signed me away?" she whispered. Laura nodded sadly. "Yes." Angela waited for the grief to crush her, but strangely it didn't. Instead she whispered, "I'm glad I have Nora." Laura smiled. "Nora is special." Angela nodded. Is my person." Laura squeezed her shoulder. "Sometimes the best families are the ones we choose." 6 months after moving in, Nora sat Angela down at the kitchen table. Her expression was serious. Angela's stomach dropped. "Am I going back to foster care?" she asked in a trembling voice. Nora looked shocked. "No. Sweetheart, never." Angela exhaled shakily. Nora reached for her hands. "I want to adopt you. Permanently. Not just foster you. I want you to be my daughter." Angela froze. Tears filled her eyes. "You want to be my mom?" Nora nodded, already emotional. "More than anything." Angela collapsed into her arms, sobbing. "Yes. Please. Yes." The adoption process took months, filled with court visits and interviews. But on Angela's 14th birthday, she legally became Angela Adams. Nora invited her closest friends who'd become family and Angela's hospital support group. They ate chocolate cake, played games, and celebrated loudly. Nora gave Angela a delicate necklace with 2 interlocked letters, A and N. "This means we're family," Nora said softly. "Forever." Angela hugged her tightly. "I love you, Mom." Nora whispered back, "I love you more, sweetheart." For the first time in her life, Angela felt truly claimed. The years that followed were not easy, but they were full of hope. Chemotherapy was brutal. Mouth sores, bone pain, dizzy spells, and endless nausea. But Nora stayed beside Angela every step. When Angela groaned from the pain, Nora whispered, "Breathe with me, sweetheart. In out, we'll get through this together." On the better days, Nora made pancakes shaped like hearts and stars. On the bad days, she simply held Angela's hand. Angela often asked, "Why do you do all this?" Nora always answered the same way, "Because you're my daughter." And love shows up. When Angela finally completed active treatment at 15, she felt like she was stepping into sunlight after years of darkness. But then she learned she was almost 2 years behind in school. She panicked. "I'll never catch up," she told Nora. "I'm already behind everyone." Nora shook her head firmly. "No, ma'am. You're brilliant. You just need support." She enrolled Angela in a home hospital learning program and hired a tutor. Nora sat beside her every evening after work, reviewing lessons. When Angela struggled, Nora encouraged her gently, "Your brain fought cancer. It can handle algebra." Slowly Angela caught up. Math started making sense. Reading became fun again. Her tutor often said, "You're one of the quickest learners I've ever met." Angela blushed every time. One night, while they worked through a science lesson, she quietly asked Nora, "Do you ever get tired of helping me?" Nora's face softened. "Never. Helping you is the easiest yes of my life." Angela swallowed hard. "I don't want to disappoint you." Nora reached across the table. "You couldn't. You've survived more than most adults. I'm proud of you already." By 16, Angela was back in regular school, and thriving. She made new friends who admired her resilience. Teachers praised her dedication. One afternoon, her English teacher pulled her aside. "Your essays are extraordinary," she said. "Have you considered advanced classes?" Angela froze, unsure how to respond. No one had ever used the word extraordinary about her before. She hurried home and burst through the door. "Mom, my teacher said I'm extraordinary." Nora grinned. "Well, I've been saying that for years, but it's nice that someone else finally noticed." Angela's confidence grew. She joined a study club, helped tutor younger students, and even began dreaming about her future. One evening, while washing dishes, she told Nora, "I want to work in medicine. Like Dr. Miller. Like you." Nora froze mid-scrub, tears forming. "Angela, really?" Angela nodded. "I want to help kids like me. Kids who are scared." Nora wiped her cheek. You would be incredible at that, sweetheart. Angela looked down shyly. Do you think I could do it? Nora wrapped her arms around her. I don't think. I know. When Angela turned 17, she was not just caught up academically, she was ahead. She began taking college-level classes and spent weekends volunteering at the children's hospital. Some of the younger kids clung to her, inspired by her story. One little girl whispered, "Are you really a survivor?" Angela smiled softly. Yes. And you will be too. Nurses adored her, doctors encouraged her, and Nora bragged about her constantly. She's going to be a doctor, Nora would say proudly. Just wait. Angela always blushed, but deep down she believed it too. The 5-year checkup came on a rainy Thursday. Dr. Miller walked in holding her chart with a bright smile. Angela, he said warmly, you're officially cleared. Your chances of relapse are extremely low. You're done with cancer. Angela blinked, hardly believing it. Done. Nora's hands flew to her mouth and she burst into tears. Angela threw her arms around her. Mom, we did it, she whispered. Nora sobbed. You did it, sweetheart. I'm so proud. For the first time since she was 13, Angela felt fully free. That night, Nora took Angela to her favorite restaurant to celebrate. They ordered pasta, garlic bread, and chocolate cake. Halfway through dinner, Nora slid a small velvet box across the table. Angela looked up, confused. What's this? Nora smiled nervously. Open it. Inside was a silver ring with both their birthstones. This is to remind you, Nora said softly, that wherever you go you're never alone. You'll always be my daughter. Angela covered her mouth as tears spilled over. Mom, it's perfect. Nora whispered, so are you. Senior year arrived and Angela began planning for college. Her grades were impeccable, 4.0 GPA, top of her class, glowing recommendations. One evening she said quietly, Mom, I want to apply to Westbridge University. Their pre-med program is one of the best. Nora didn't hesitate. Then that's where you'll apply. Angela bit her lip. It's expensive. Nora waved a hand. We'll figure it out. You just chase your dreams. Angela leaned against her shoulder. What did I do to deserve you? Nora kissed her forehead. Everything. When the acceptance letter arrived, Angela screamed so loudly the neighbors came out to check on her. Mom, I got in. Full scholarship. She jumped up and down while Nora spun her in a circle. I told you. Nora laughed through tears. I knew they'd want you. Angela hugged her tightly. We did this together. Nora whispered back, you did the work. I just made sure you had the chance. Angela held the letter to her chest, feeling like her life, her real life, was finally beginning. College was harder than Angela expected. Long study nights, tough exams, endless labs. There were moments she doubted herself. But every evening Nora called her. How's my future doctor? She'd ask. Angela laughed. Tired. Nora always replied, being tired means you're working toward something big. During especially stressful weeks, Angela cried on the phone. Mom, what if I fail? Nora's voice was steady. You won't. You've walked through fire, sweetheart. Exams are nothing compared to what you've survived. Those words kept Angela going, again and again. During her second year, Angela came home for winter break and immediately noticed Nora looked thinner. Mom, are you okay? She asked. Nora brushed it off. Just long shifts, honey. Angela frowned. Are you overworking yourself for me? Nora forced a smile. I'm fine. You focus on school. But Angela watched her carefully. She later learned Nora had been taking extra shifts just to ensure Angela never worried about money. The guilt hit hard, but Nora refused to let her feel it. Love sacrifices, Nora said softly. Let me do that for you. By her third year, Angela was thriving again. Research projects, volunteer work, and top grades. Professors praised her dedication. You have a gift, one said. You'll make an exceptional doctor. Angela emailed Nora every update. Nora replied with long messages full of pride. When Angela began applying to medical schools, Nora decorated the house with little notes saying, Dr. Angela Adams, future oncologist. Angela blushed every time she found one. Mom, stop, she'd laugh. Nora winked. No chance. The day Angela received her acceptance to Westbridge School of Medicine, she burst into tears. "Mom," she called immediately, voice shaking. "I got in." Nora screamed with joy on the phone. "I knew it. I knew it. Oh, sweetheart, I'm so proud I could explode." Angela laughed through tears. "Mom, stop crying." "I can't." Nora sobbed. "You're going to save lives, Angela." And Angela believed her. "We're doing this," Angela said softly. "Together." Nora whispered, "Always." Medical school was harder than anything Angela had ever done. Endless lectures, grueling rotations, exhausted nights spent studying until dawn. But she loved it. She loved learning how the human body worked, how diseases formed, and how to comfort patients the way Nora once comforted her. When clinical rotations began, Angela found herself drawn to pediatric oncology. One night after a long shift, she told Nora, "I want to help kids like I was." Nora's voice broke. "Sweetheart, that's exactly who you're meant to be." By her 4th year, Angela's instructors praised her compassion. Children clung to her. Parents trusted her instantly. One supervising doctor said, "You don't just treat patients. You make them feel safe." Angela smiled quietly, thinking of Nora. When graduation neared, she learned she had been chosen as valedictorian. She stared at the email in disbelief. Then she called Nora. "Mom," she whispered, I'm valedictorian." Nora screamed, cried, then screamed again. "Of course you are. They finally figured out what I've known for years." Graduation day arrived. The auditorium filled with thousands of people. Families, friends, professors. Angela spotted Nora in the 2nd row, wearing a blue dress and holding a bouquet. Tears already streamed down her face. Angela touched the necklace Nora gave her years ago, the 2 interlocked letters resting against her heart. When her name was called and she walked across the stage in her white coat, Nora stood, clapping so hard her hands shook. Angela looked at her and felt her heart swell. Everything she had accomplished was because someone loved her enough to stay. When it was time for her valedictorian speech, Angela stood at the podium and took a steady breath. "When I was 13, she began, "I learned that not all parents choose their children. Mine didn't." The audience fell silent. Angela continued, voice steady. "But then a nurse walked into my hospital room and changed my life. She showed up. He cared. She stayed." Angela looked directly at Nora. Nora covered her mouth, tears streaming. "This degree," Angela said, "belongs as much to my mother, Nora Adams, as it does to me. She saved my life twice." The entire auditorium rose to its feet. People cheered, cried, applauded. Nora shook uncontrollably, tears pouring down her cheeks as Angela stepped down from the stage. After the ceremony, Angela ran straight into her arms. They held each other tightly in the crowded hall, unmoving as if the world had narrowed to only them. "You didn't have to say all that," Nora whispered shakily. "Yes, I did," Angela replied. "Because it's true. Every word. You gave me a life worth living." Nora sobbed, "I love you so much, sweetheart." Angela whispered, "I love you more." Years later, Angela became a respected pediatric oncologist, known for kindness, skill, and an unshakable calm. Children trusted her the moment she walked into the room. Parents thanked her with trembling voices. And every night she called Nora just to say, "Love you, Mom." Their bond only grew stronger. Angela often said she had 2 lifesavers: the doctors who treated her body and the mother who healed her heart. She never reconciled with her biological family, and she never regretted it. Because she'd learned the truth long ago. Family isn't who you're born to. Family is who stays. And Nora stayed forever.